though that one person who just never grew up. Even though they should be adults, they have no problem regressing back into adolescence and acting downright childish. But what if, instead of a character flaw, this was a defense mechanism? What if by acting childish, you became a child? And who doesn't want to go back to being a kid every once in a while? The immortal jellyfish certainly does. And it's developed a way to stay in Neverland and never grow up here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal info. Merry Christmas. I'm Joe.
And Merry Christmas, and I'm Carlos.
And today we're talking about a tiny little long-lived sea booger. In honor of the Christmas season, obviously. But more on that later.
That's the most Christmassy thing I can think of.
Yeah. It's more specifically, the type of booger we're talking about is a jellyfish.
A coo jellyfish. It's
is
cool, and yeah, and it's got white edges, so that's Christmassy.
Does it have white edges?
If you shine a white light at it, it's pretty transparent.
Let's talk about names before we get into the description.
Yeah, it's not just any jellyfish, obviously.
Right.
It's the immortal jellyfish.
Yeah, I was trying to. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why it's called that. It doesn't have any, normally animals have a range of names, and I was looking for one that wasn't going to spoil, the cool part about it. And it just doesn't have any other names except for its binomial name.
They call it, it's by its binomial nomenclature. They call it the, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
In a bit.
And about now, or would you like to do your...
All right, yeah, the nicknames. So we're going to call it here the baby bell jellyfish. Brian sent in one. It's called, this is what he named the picture. Ulamog the Infinite Gyre.
What is that from?
It's an Eldrazi creature in Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
That when it dies, it goes back to your hand. And that's important.
Okay.
Although I'm not going to call it Ulamog. What we are going to call it is Benjamin Button, a.k.a. Benny.
Okay.
It's going to be Benny. Benny the jellyfish. Benny the baby bell jellyfish. There we go.
I like it.
Do you? Good.
Yeah.
Taxonomize me, Captain.
Taxonomize. I will never remember, just like you'll never be able to figure out how we introduce Animalia. You like it, you love it, you're inside it or something. I will never remember the order that we do the taxonomy, your nicknames, and then the quiz.
The quiz comes right after the taxonomy.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into that. The kingdom, you know it, you love it, you're in it. It's the kingdom Animalia. The phylum is Cnidaria. Ain't no spines around here.
Cnidaria?
Absolutely not. It's like Cnidarian.
There's a C in front of it.
Get out. Class is Hydrozoa or Hydrozoa.
Hydrozoa. There we go. Yeah.
And then the order is Anthropology. Just kidding. It's Anthoathecata. Wow.
Anthoathecata.
Anthoathecata. It's a wonderful phrase.
Anthoathecata. Ain't no passing craze. It means I'm immortal for the rest. Anyway.
Is that what that order doesn't mean that necessarily?
No. But yeah, that's funny. It's definitely impossible to say that without thinking you have a lisp. Anthoathecata.
It's a bunch of jellyfish, that order. The family is Originated. Really running out of names for that. Where does it live? It lives in the ocean.
Oceanidae. There's two I's there.
Yes, that's a family of over 50 cnidarians, which contain nearly 50 species in 10 genera.
Nice.
And speaking of genera, the genus is Turritopsis. I like that. That's fine. I didn't have to struggle with that one too much. And then the species is Dornii. Turritopsis Dornii. Yeah, 2 eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's mostly called Turritopsis dornii or Dornii or T dornii. Dornii.
Man, I like that. It's like a fancy author. T Dornii.
Oh, you need well, the
T
first
stands
two
for
names.
Thomas.
Yeah, it's like T.C. Dorney. That sounds like an author.
Yeah.
Thomas Charles Dorney. But anyway, since we're in the business of naming things, including fictional authors, it's time for a great part of the show, and it's called Critter Groups, which is a small quiz that I pose to Joe, where I ask a question. The question is the same every time. What is the name of the collective noun for this animal, or what is the name for a group of this animal? So, Joe, what is the name of a group of jellyfish? I'm going to give it.
I really hope one of them is a spread.
That would be that's like SpongeBob World grouping of jellyfish, because they actually get jelly from jellyfish in SpongeBob's world.
I bet it's salty.
So it's probably kind of gross. So if you saw a group of jellyfish, would you say, "Hey, look over there at that A, smack of jellyfish, or B, huddle of jellyfish, C, harangue of jellyfish, or D, squalor of jellyfish?"
Squalor, harangue. Give me the first two again.
Smack, huddle, harangue, and squalor.
Squalor sounds rude. I hope that's not what it is. Whoever did. It's just a squalor of jellyfish. Harangue is fun. I hope that, in my heart, I want that to be the answer. I'm going to go with huddle.
Final answer?
Final answer.
So close. I thought you were going to get it right. The answer is smack.
Okay. A smack. Okay. Yeah, no. That wasn't on my radar at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's just
I actually I forgot it when you got to the end of it, and then you repeated them, and I forgot it again because I was so infatuated with the last two words.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm gonna pick the one of them I can remember.
Yeah, I don't know how I came up with these. It's just the words came to mind. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it takes me like 20 minutes on one of them, just like, what should I put in?
Literally just open a dictionary and point to a word.
No, but it's got to sound, I mean, it has to sound like it could be the name for something.
None of these sound like they could be the name for something.
A huddle of jellyfish? It could totally be a huddle of jellyfish.
Yeah, I guess that could be. That's the only possible one. The real one doesn't make any sense, and the other two don't make sense. So
there were other ones that were pretty good, but just in case we do jellyfish again, I'll keep them to myself.
Okie doke. Would you like to know anything about the description of this animal?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to describe because it's pretty see-through. But like many sea creatures, the jellyfish of the immortal variety is found all over the world's oceans. They prefer temperate to tropical regions, like a lot of things that live in the water and on Earth. They're believed to have originated in the Pacific Ocean, but many have traveled all over the ocean in what is called ballast water. You know what that is?
Gross. That's the water that goes into ships as ballast.
Yeah. So ballast water is water that is used to fill tanks in the hulls of ships to maintain balance, especially in high winds. Tanks fill at a port and then discharge at a second port. So when a ship has like a full cargo load, sometimes they won't use ballast, but other than that, and if the ship is lighter than normal, then they will fill with ballast to like keep them from swaying in the wind or tipping over in high winds.
It's weird that ships have to take on water in order to function correctly.
Yeah, so they keep it in these like specific tanks in the hull. But sometimes animals find themselves in ballast water to be deposited somewhere else in the ocean, because once they reach their destination, they release their ballast water. Sometimes, I think I've heard in movies like captains yelling to release ballast or something.
I think it's just they throw things overboard that make the ship too heavy, like Jonah
when it's sinking.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So that's what they. There's actually a world ballast a regulatory body that like has regulations for keeping ballast, because it can really harm the ecosystem if you're like sucking up animals and putting them where they don't belong.
They should have like a really fine screen into their tanks. I guess it would slow down the ballast process, but it would mean that nothing bigger than plankton could get into the ballast tanks.
That's true. But the jellyfish apparently get in for whatever reason. Jellyfish, this particular jellyfish is a bell shape, and it's transparent except for their like center bits, which are orange or red. It has short tentacles. It doesn't have like some jellyfish have like these incredibly long tentacles. From what I saw, the tentacles are like either shorter than their body length or like about as long. But it has a wide range of tentacles, including that can range from 8 to 90, depending on something I'll talk about later. But speaking of size, it's time for something great.
Anything else?
Nope.
It's time for anything else.
Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also the part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself singing, saying, chittering, or doing whatever a jellyfish sound is. The words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We do have a new intro this week.
Oh no!
Finally, for Christmas.
Do I have to guess something now?
You can guess who this is. I was about to just say it, but I'm glad you said something.
I'm very upset at myself for having said anything.
I think this will be pretty easy for you. But without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Measure up, you filthy animal.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, it's hard to do. I have to. If I give you a multiple choice, I have to pick 3 or 4 random people that kind of sound like this.
Yeah, that would be rough. I don't know. Now I'm gonna feel bad when it's somebody that I know really well.
It is someone you know.
Is it Johanna?
No.
Is it one of her family members?
No, someone you've met.
I don't know. I give up.
It is my sister, Jessica.
Oh.
And doing an impression of that
Snakes?
fake movie in Home Alone.
Isn't that? I think that's a real movie.
I thought it was a real movie, but then somebody told me it was fake and made for the movie, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's real.
Jury's out.
I don't think the jury's out. I think it's not sequestered anymore. It's definitely reconvened and delivered
for
a
a
verdict.
long time. I remember recently somebody telling me that it was fake. But let's get into Measure Up. That's why we're here. That's why we're here this season. The diameter. Let's talk about the diameter of a jellyfish. This particular one. It's got a maximum diameter of about 4.5 millimeters or 0.18 inches.
By the way, it's not real.
Yeah,
it's called Angels with Filthy Souls.
Yeah, no, honestly, like I thought what you thought for the longest time. I thought,
although there is a 1938 film called Angels with Dirty Faces.
That's probably what it's making fun of.
Yeah. I thought that was a real movie.
Me too. So how many jellyfish go into the diameter of a baseball?
Tell me sorry, I was looking up.
It's 4.5 millimeters or 0.18 inches.
That's its diameter on the bell?
Yeah.
0.8 inches.
Here's a hint. In the early days of baseball, the balls were made of horsehide with a string-wrapped rubber core. There was no size standardization, so balls could be anywhere between the size of a golf ball to the size of a softball.
Man, can you imagine an unregulated baseball size?
Yeah, there was no like major league back then, obviously. So just guys in a field that were like getting together to play a game. But then your buddy could be like, "All right, let's play," and you're trying to hit a golf ball.
A golf ball. And then like all your team has is a kickball, and they just keep hitting home runs, and you don't understand why. All right, well, a baseball, I mean the standard one, I mean it's a little bigger than a tennis ball.
It was kind of interesting reading about like the origins of baseballs, because when they were making baseballs for the first time, they were trying to make a ball that could be as easily hit as thrown. To throw a baseball, you need laces, you need the right grip so that you can spin it right and blah blah blah. But then to hit the baseball, it needs to be flat, or else it'll fly off in a weird direction. So the baseball we know today is like the perfect hybrid between those two needs. And now you know a lot about baseballs.
I sure do now. I'm going to say 5.
5 jellyfish?
No, I'm going to say 6. Sorry, 6 jellyfish.
Okay.
Because they're 0.8 inches, and the diameter of a baseball, I'm imagining, is probably about 5 inches, maybe 4 inches. So that would put like 5 or 6. I'm going to say 5.5. We'll right in the middle there. 5.5 jellyfish go into the diameter of a baseball.
The correct answer is 17.
I'm sorry?
Baseballs are 76 millimeters in diameter.
0.17. I thought you said 0.8.
I said 0.18.
Oh.
It's 0.177.
Okay, well I didn't hear you right because I was looking up angels with filthy souls, and I thought it was 0.8 inches, and so I was like, "Are you talking about a 14-inch baseball? Because that's insane. That's a basketball."
I wonder if the second time you had me say that if I accidentally said 0.8, but we'll listen back. Let's move on to the number of tentacles they have. So the number of tentacles can be anywhere between 8 and 90, like I said before, but it's usually 80 to 90 with a certain type. So basically, I'm going to dip into my fast facts for a second. Most species are genetically identical, but they do have some different genetic adaptations depending on where they live and where their environment is. And things in the jellyfish in tropical waters have 8 tentacles, whereas temperate region jellyfish have like as many as 24 tentacles. The standard seems to be 80 to 90. The most have 80 to 90, but there's some deviations based on where they live. So let's talk 90 tentacles. How many of the number of calories in 19 Concord grapes go into the number of tentacles a jellyfish has?
What? That's so arbitrary. 19 Concord grapes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine a grape has, I don't know, 10 calories, about as much as a Werther's Original. It's 190.
Does a Werther's Original only have 10 calories?
I think so.
It's just like a little sugar cube.
Yeah. Oh, and it's a little caramel cube. I might be wrong. I think I remember seeing that on the packaging last time I saw Werther's Original, which was last week. Maybe I don't know what Concord grapes are. Are those the ones that are really, really big?
They're like the
ones
blue ones. They're almost blue. They're definitely like quote unquote red grapes, but they look blue to me. They're kind of big.
I'm more concerned about their size and sugar content.
I'll
do
big.
20 calories for a grape. Yeah. So 19 of those would put you at, what, 380 calories? Yeah. Then divided by 90. I guess 4.2, according to the handy-dandy calculator. 4.2 numbers of... Don't make me say it.
Would you wait? Hold on. I need to maybe. Here's a hint. A Concord grape is actually a type of grape that are used to make table grapes, juice, wine, and, you guessed it, jelly.
So it's a grape that's used to make grape things.
Yeah.
Except for raisins.
Yeah. Well, maybe it could. I'm sure it can be used to make grape raisins.
No, it's impossible. They have to use some other thing. Otherwise... All right, so am I right? 4.2?
The answer... 4.2... You're saying 4.2 Concord grape calories and 19 Concord grapes go into...
No, I'm saying that 4.2 amounts of Benny's tentacles go into the amount of calories that are in 19 Concord grapes. There, I said it. I'm not doing it again.
Dang. You failed successfully. And here's why. The answer is 3. But there are 30 calories in 19 grapes.
There are 30 calories in 19 grapes?
Yeah. Your version of the grapes would be like nobody could ever eat them. They'd be so calorie rich. They'd be like eating candy.
How did we get here?
So I said, how many of the number of calories in 19 Concord grapes go into the number of tentacles a jellyfish has?
Oh.
You reversed it and still got it pretty close. Because you wildly overestimated the calorie numbers.
That's called failing spectacularly. It's called falling with style.
There's a meme that's like congratulations, you failed successfully or something like that. And that's what it is. That's what you just did.
Oh my goodness, that was that was a bad measure up.
That was incredible. That was a beautiful moment.
Everything was wrong. Everything was wrong.
That was divine providence right there.
Everything.
You meant it for
providence.
Being wrong, but God meant it for being right.
Forget it. Never mind. Tell us some fast facts.
Let's dip into some fast facts. The main diet for these jellies usually consists of fish eggs, plankton, or little tiny baby mollusks. They are, despite their name, killable. You can eat them. They can get sick as polyps and not be able to regenerate. More on that later. The jellyfish are quite little for most of their lives, but they do have a sting. They're not like crazy poisonous like box jellies or anything like that. But it could smart a little bit. That's about it. That's all I got.
All right. Are you ready for the major fact?
I think so.
This one's pretty major.
Yeah, it's pretty major.
Like most animals, jellyfish tend to have a definite lifespan, like you and me.
Same.
In fact, jellyfish often have more fixed lifespans than other animals, kind of like insects do. Like other animals might have a range for lifespans or like a maximum lifespan. You might say that, rabbits can live up to 10 years or something like that, but they can live anywhere between 5 and 10 years. But a lot of the times insects will live for 2 weeks or for a month or for 24 hours or something like that. It's pretty much the same every time. And jellyfish tend to have a very similar setup with their lifespans. And here's a quick rundown of the general life cycle of a jellyfish. So jellies start their lives as eggs, and they hatch into what's called planula larvae, which is like a free-swimming little bean that floats around in the ocean. These planula larvae, they drift onto rocks or sediment on the ocean floor, and then they turn into polyps, which are weird worm bugs with their butts anchored to a rock. And they stack and form entire colonies of polyps. These polyps start to bud, and what buds off of them are adolescent jellyfish called medusae. And then they mature into adult medusae after a few weeks. So a medusa is the jellyfish that you think of, the upside down plastic bag that's, undulating in the ocean and stinging things. So that's the last stage. After they've matured, the males release their sperm into the open ocean and the females collect it to fertilize their eggs and start the cycle all over again before dying.
As you do.
Right, yeah. It's typical stuff. But Benny has found a way to reverse the process, allowing it to transform from medusa back into polyp form. And it does this as a defense mechanism. If there's like a lack of food, or the temperature changes really suddenly, or the salinity of the water is outside the optimal range, the salinity being the salt content, or if it suffers any damage on the bell area, Benny will opt to regress back to its polyp state and try life again, rather than face the daunting challenges of adulthood. This would be like a frog changing back into a tadpole at the end of its life to start over. Or like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar.
This would be like me turning back into a baby so that I could take the knowledge I've gotten over one lifetime to help me in a second one.
Yeah.
Except for if I were a jellyfish, I would have no knowledge at all.
Right, and also your brain would be just as underdeveloped. You might have the memories, but you won't have the fortitude or frontal lobe development to really make wise decisions. Well, like right now, I'm dealing with health insurance, small business taxes, negligent landlords. How nice would it be to just say, "Nope, let's try this again," and just poof yourself back into being an 8-year-old.
Your landlord is like, "Sorry, I can't get out to fix the faucet today." And you're like, "The environment is hostile. It's time to be a baby again."
Now your tenant is an 8-year-old. Congratulations. Well, I mean, I just got done with school, so the idea of having to go through all of school again sounds like the worst thing ever. Being an adult's actually pretty nice. But hey, if the world's out to get you, just regress, right?
Except, yeah. I just don't see this working out well for humans, but I like that the jellyfish can do it.
So this process is called transdifferentiation. There's your vocab word. And it happens relatively quickly. In fact, it's never been seen in the wild because of how quickly it happens. So what they'll do is they'll retract their tentacles and their bell will begin to deteriorate, and they'll kind of just deflate and sink back to the ocean floor, attach, and then become a polyp again. And a polyp is like a mini jellyfish gun. It's almost like a stack of Mentos or Sweet Tarts or something like that, where at the end, if you watch this, it's crazy. It's like it really is like a stack of them. And then you kind of just pop the top one off like you would a Mentos, and then it just floats off and becomes a jellyfish. When a single immortal jellyfish goes and becomes a polyp again, the jellyfish it spawns many jellyfish from it, and each one is genetically identical to the one that turned into a polyp. So it's essentially cloning itself. And since Benny can do this indefinitely, it is essentially biologically immortal. It's not invincible, like you said, you can kill it, but it does not experience, doesn't have to experience senescence, which is aging, getting older.
Like an elf in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but that one, I guess elves just kind of put a pin mark in being 30 years old, and that's just the way that they look forever. But this would be like if every time an elf aged 30 years, he went back to being a baby, and then aged 30 years again, and then went back to being a baby, and then aged 30 years, and then lived 1,000 years doing that. It's not much of a life, but
But he doesn't know it isn't. So
yeah, true. That's all he knows. But the process of reverting back into the polyp stage actually leaves them vulnerable because they're not a floating ball of stinging nettles anymore. They're now just a wriggling worm at the bottom of the ocean. So they're often eaten by other animals. So it's not really that helpful. It's like, oh no, the temperature's changed slightly. Let me turn into something that is completely defenseless.
Well, like elves in Lord of the Rings, it's like it's almost even more of a shame. It's like I'm getting eaten, but dang it, I could have lived forever.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh boy, could have passed on the absolute lack of knowledge or anything to other jellyfish generations because they have no brains. The interesting thing is that Benny is the only species of animal in the world that can do anything like this, that can transdifferentiate, can go back into previous stages. So we have like neotenic animals.
The axolotl. Go listen to that episode.
Yeah, these are animals that never get past. They never grow up. They never get past a certain
Peter Panimals
stage. The Peter Pan. How did we not put that? We called it the Peter Pan salamander, but we probably just could have called it a Peter Panimal. But so this is different. This is going into the adult stage and then switching back into adolescence and then adolescence forever. Scientists have done some sequencing analysis with Benny's DNA to determine how this happens and whether or not we can apply something from this process to stem cells for tissue healing. It has to do with gene activation and nucleotide sequencing, and you don't want to hear about that. What you do want to hear about, however, is that there's a scientist in Kyoto that has a smack of Bennies. A group of these jellyfish that he's kept for over 2 years and has rebirthed itself 11 times over these 2 years. Now, his name is Shin Kubota, and he might be my favorite scientist ever. He loves to study immortal jellyfish, but his second favorite love in this life is karaoke. So this guy, Shin Kubota, he writes short songs about the immortal jellyfish.
Oh.
His muse. He does this regularly. He's written 9 songs about Benny. And when he sings his jellyfish songs, you can see this in a video on YouTube. He wears a velvet purse with tassels hanging down on his head to make him look more like a jellyfish. And he also wears some Elton John shades, red gloves, and a jellyfish t-shirt that he made himself. Here are some of the song names that he's come up with.
Okay.
Limitless, T. Dorney, that's the name of the one. Scarlet Medusa is another one. Die Hard Medusa. And my personal favorite, the Immortal Jellyfish Festival song, which I think we should hear a
smack roll of.
Let's listen to it in its entirety because
Really?
it's like 45 seconds long.
Oh, okay.
Like that. All right, here we go. Okay, actually, rather than subject you to another, I guess, minute of that, it pretty much goes like that. If you don't understand Japanese, then it's just going to be like white noise to you. So here are the lyrics, the entirety, all the lyrics to the song. My name is T. Dorney. I'm going to turn myself back into a polyp soon. I'm thinking about what I want to do this time around. I can age in reverse. I'm getting my energetic young body back. Right now in 1, 2, 3. I can live my life over again. But since people only live once, please live without any regrets. Oh yeah, T. Dorney.
The song was really poignant, and then he did like a like a Jason Derulo thing at the end.
Yeah, that is the Immortal Jellyfish Festival song. You can look this up on YouTube. The video, when I clicked on it, the video said it was age restricted, like there's inappropriate material in there. But I watched the entire thing. It's like 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. And it's just a happy guy talking about his jellyfish. He explains his costume and then sings the song alone in a small room. Actually, there's a lady standing behind him, like cleaning dishes or something like that. It's just him wearing this getup and singing the song, and then it's over. There's no inappropriate content whatsoever. So, I mean, unless the age restricted part was a play on the regression of the jellyfish, you can just kind of plow on through that and enjoy just an amazing video from a legend.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what my favorite part about this jellyfish is, the fact that it can do this amazing thing, or that this man exists.
This is a good champion for this species.
Absolutely, and he needs more views on his YouTube video, so go check him out. Do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right, so that was the immortal jellyfish, the Turritopsis dorni Benjamin Button. For you out there in Podcastia, so when life throws you an unexpected curveball, grow up and be mature, unlike the immortal jellyfish in Life, Death, and Taxonomy. Hey everyone, Carlos here. Wow. We sure learned a lot about jellyfish, developmental psychology, and karaoke today, didn't we? Well, we'd love if you would inject this new animal info into every conversation you have from here on out. Are two of your friends debating politics? Mention the immortal jellyfish. Your significant other having a heart-to-heart with you about a serious issue? Mention the immortal jellyfish. Someone blesses you when you sneeze? Immortal jellyfish. Then, when they're naturally dazzled by your animal knowledge, you can tell them you learned it from our show here. Word of mouth is the best way for us to reach more people with the good news of karaoke jellyfish festival songs. So do your part, and bother your friends and loved ones about animals. Thanks for listening, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Hooray.
That's pretty good. I have to go.
Okay.